pissed off. So everybody's feeling it in their heart the way I am, seeing the humiliation, the degradation, the humiliation, the violence, the attacks on not just white people, but everything we stand for, every moral value that we hold under attack right now. This is an unprecedented political emergency that is going on in the United States today. And not just America, Europe, and the world. The white race is under attack, and it's unambiguous. It's not hidden. They tell us every day. Every single day, elite plutocrats, media figures, we know who runs the media, every one of them, Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL is out there telling you who he wants suppressed, what he wants suppressed, whose statue he wants coming down, and we all know who it is that's under attack, and it's us. It's us. It's us. So what are we going to do about it? We have to answer this. This cannot go unanswered. This cannot go unanswered. We are here with a response. So what we are here for tonight, we are announcing the formation of a new political party, a new political vehicle that is going to fight for you, for white rights, for our people in America and the world. So we are told every day by pundits, by intellectuals, by people on TV, people in universities, we're told every day, our nation is about ideas. It's about ideas, concepts, freedom, equality, liberty. No, a nation is people. Yes! A nation is built by its people. You cannot have those moral, philosophical foundations without the people who spawned those ideas in the first place. And the ideas of freedom, liberty, justice, those come out of the European intellectual tradition, the European philosophical tradition, the white philosophical tradition. Those are our ideas, our concepts. Our nations are built on them. Do you think that there are any other nations built on those concepts anywhere in the world? That is our heritage, our legacy.
So, the first disclaimer that I want to put up is that, yes, this is cringe or cringy. There is an opportunity to cope with this, the existence of this political party through the filter of irony. There is, I'm not going to really judge that, because the grotesque horror of when you really dig down into like white nationalist ideology, and when you sort of see where it's headed, and you think about all of the dynamics and all of the way that they deny the Holocaust, the way that they dehumanize children that are interned by ICE, it's all absurd and grotesque. Like it's all freak show. It's all political freak show. It's all like wallowing in the most grotesque facets of human nature. When you think about, for example, I know a lot of people have actually, in retrospect, so many years later, and this is going to sound like rambling, but like have looked at the first wave of the alt-right and sort of come to the conclusion that because the figures of the alt-right were mostly online, and then they put their foot out the door in Charlottesville and they cowered back in. They put their toe in the water and they freaked out because there was an incident. Need to remember that Mike Enoch and his type, the last time around it was Richard Spencer, and since then Spencer has become much less prevalent. Spencer, if you look at like the Chan boards that litigate these things, Spencer is seen as a moderate. This is the accelerationism of the right since the advent or labeling of the alt-right, because I mean the alt-right is not anything new. The alt-right is Nazism with a sense of so-called decorum. Theoretically, it's the sort of in the 90s, your Nazis would go outside with Doc Martens and skinheads and suspenders and stuff. The alt-right is like a bunch of corporate frat boy. Enoch himself is also like a post-corporate parasite. Used to be like an IT guy, an under-the-bridge troll IT guy. And he, is the alt-right is not like other right-wing reactionary blood and soil movements in the States, in so far as it seems to be mostly urbanite white people who were somewhat successful under neoliberalism. And this is relevant to the video that we're talking about, because you will notice that Mike chose to and I guess National Justice Party, with all their leadership and the apparatus, chose to film this opening rally. The alt-right is I'll never give them too much credit for being savvy, because I think they get too much credit for that. I think that liberals sort of broadly have this thing about believing that anyone that defeats them is a fucking evil genius. Putin's an evil genius. Bannon's an evil genius. Nazis historically are not grand Machiavellians. They are recast like this later because people do not factor in the very basic fact that anyone can take Trump, even though he's not effectively a fascist, he's not authentically a fascist, he's a kleptocrat. He is that end stage. He is stage 4 cancer of capitalism, kleptocracy. Sometimes it's aristocracy, it's autocracy, sometimes it's kleptocracy, right? So Trump is just the guy who's stripping the country, for the copper wire. The Nazis of the past and present are not great gamesmanship people. They are not like really great strategy. They're not really like super brilliant at strategy or lexicon, as a lot of like liberal think pieces will do. And I've learned this from time spent processing their ideas and sort of comparing them between the alt-right and the alt-light. How they handle rhetoric, how they conduct themselves, what seems to be their purpose, what's the meaning of their language, what's the tactical purpose of their language. They prefer to fight liberals because liberals, unlike leftists, can be defeated by word games and tone policing. You can stop a liberal from criticizing a Nazi by sort of merely falling back on horse shit about be polite and remember to dot your I's and cross your T's. So again, the barn. The reason that I'm sure they chose the barn was, number one, I'm sure there's some practical explanation. Number two, I think the barn is a way to ruralize or provincialize a profoundly bourgeoisie, aristocratic fail-son-based political movement. The alt-right has never been what past white nationalist movements have been. Even David Duke's Klan was a Southern culture informed white nationalism. This is what makes this very insidious is that liberals in the press who can give these guys power recognize them from the milieu. These are guys from my neighborhood. Let's do a think piece. I need to know how Mikey from the Upper East Side, he went to high school with Lauryn Hill and Zach Braff. He could be, that could be my cousin or my brother or my son. So, how do we find out what went wrong here? The diagnosis being that, one, and again, not to just focus on Mike Enoch, but he really is like the Travis Bickle of this movement. He is the isolated guy. He's the fundamental internet sort of addicted to forums guy that was like holistically sealed under neoliberalism and looking for any kind of shred of stimulation. So he got on these fucking boards and he just lived online until it destroyed his life. And now, so he's starting a political party because he's a junkie, man. He's like a fiend. He saw. Let's do some background stuff here. So right before Mike and Stryker and the various other media figures from the rightstuff.biz went on this journey of IRL politics, Mike had just lost a Twitter account called Mike P's Juice, or he got locked out of it. One or the other. So whatever, their social media imprint, their footprint had become so limited over time that they saw Laura Loomer, who had been banned for many valid reasons. This is one of their like early alt-right, when the alt-right and alt-light were one thing and they were MAGA, like Loomer and Enoch were effectively in the same like little gang. That's out the window now, but so she continued to be a controversial figure. She started to run as a politician in a Republican primary, and then channels of the mainstream press and social media started to open up again. So I think that Mike, being a fucking dope fiend for posting, Mike being a pure internet troll that desperately needs to howl and gnash his teeth and stomp his foot at the blue checks, he found there's two things here. Their payment processor got thankfully fucked up really bad, and they at this point were taking like McDonald's coupons or something through the mail, the money orders from the mail, and were trying to conduct a modern post-internet media business using like vestigial currency, because every pay processor that they had gone to eventually was notified that their content is predominantly Holocaust denial, right? Especially these days, for some reason, I guess TDS has run out of content lately, and they've just literally been wallowing in like really, really pedantic Holocaust denial, and getting like, they've become, the alt-right has become, since they've been pressed out of YouTube, when they were arguably affecting, influencing, poisoning mainstream celebrities. I mean, there was a point where like Philip DeFranco was very close to alt-right. He was very close to dabbling in it because they did become at one point very, very close to mainstream celebrity status, because the alt-right benefits from the fact that capitalism empowers narratives that are profitable. And under capitalism, and in the United States of America, the hatred, bigotry, these are very profitable positions. You can even see it in some of the left tube stuff that has gone a little bit more misogynist and a little more class reductionist, like Peter Coffin or Walsh. You see those guys making more money, but the explanation for that is not popular support. The explanation for that is patronage. Who are your patrons? Are your patrons disaffected white guys? Like the reason that these Nazis always get patronage is because the people in charge, the people in the corporate offices who already make all the bread, the disaffected white guy sitting on a mountain of cocaine, he feels shamed because he cannot go on social media and slur. He feels shamed because he can't just walk into the club and pull every woman that's in. When you really examine what the grievances are and who are making the grievances on the alt-right stuff, 9 times out of 10, it is not the disaffected pleb. It is not the lumpen prole. The majority of alt-right media figures and seemingly their audiences who are capable of massive patronage are white guys that got everything that they worked for under capitalism, and it meant nothing because neoliberal capitalism gave them money. It did not give them an identity. It did not give them a sense of self-worth. They were just on the hedonic treadmill. You see how Mike fell into this? Mike had the money. Mike had the apartment. Mike had the life, but he didn't have pleasure. He had objects. He had money. Just like all of these alt-right guys, when you look back in their background, you really check, they were okay. These dudes were not homeless. They were not unemployed. They were from, even Andrew Anglin was a rich fail son. They were from bread, but they felt like the world owed them more. The world owed them conquest. The world owed them identity. The world owed them deference. This is the crossover point between MAGA, alt-right. I have all the money. I have all the power. I want deference. I want you to exalt me. I want to be praised. I want to be celebrated. I could be the richest man on earth, but I'm so insecure that I need parades in the street about how good I am just for being white, and how being white is a revolution unto itself. When you examine the narratives of the National Justice Party, when you examine the narratives of the Daily Show and their adjacent podcasts, it always comes back to, you should sing my fucking praises. Don't you understand? I'm the white man. Nothing else needs to be interrogated. Nothing else needs to be presented other than I'm a fucking white man. I was born great. Everything throughout history that has been achieved belongs to me. I think that also relates to again, the Nazi is a figure that can only be a byproduct of capitalism. You're generally not going to see Nazis come out of other configurations. You may see other authoritarian, totalitarian figures and political ideologies come out of other societies that are in decay. Monarchism, when it's in decay, usually will produce conservatism or liberalism, for example, but not Nazism. Nazism is the vengeful son of capitalism. Nazism is specifically a kind of a consumer gone mad, gone rabid, this kind of infection of it's mine, it's mine, it's mine. The country, it's about objects. It's about, it's not about like this ethereal stuff. They sell all this ethereal stuff about like supernatural phenomena, spiritual connection between people. This is like, I've touched this before, like the Julius Evola, esoteric fascism. That's all bullshit. This is about money, property, and privilege. This is about being able to walk down the street by law and know that your white skin by default gives you power over every person that does not look like you, every person that does not fuck like you, every person that does not, even down to like the very deep minutia. It is a kind of hyper narcissism. I need everyone to read what I read. I need everyone to watch what I watch. I want everyone to have my same morals, and I want to participate in a society where who I hate is who the culture hates, and who the government will punish. So what's my verdict after all this on National Justice Party? National Justice Party is multiple things. National Justice Party is an attempt by the remainders of the alt-right wave to resecure funding and resecure entree to recruitership. This distinction that I will make in terms of grifting between the alt-right and the alt-right is that the alt-right is vacuous. It is more culturally related to neoliberalism, which, you know, is no coincidence. I mean, the alt-right, for all intents and purposes, is a form of conservatism which is highly related to neoliberalism and Ronald Reagan and all that stuff. The alt-right is pure grifting. It is nihilistic, cynical grasping. It is attention for its own sake. It is purely patronage. They just want your tokens. They just want more dollars. The extra layer that makes the alt-right dangerous and different in a way that I think is relevant is the fact that they want entree for money, sure, but they also want legitimately to spread an ideology. They want to get access to recruitment. They want to get access to numbers that are not just pay pigs. They want people. They want soldiers. They want killers. That's my summation on national justice. I'm working on some stuff about Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm still processing all that stuff and trying to make sense out of it. But it is related to this, and I will come back with another video soon. This is me coming effectively out of retirement for a little while, God knows how long, because, you know, the adversary that I thought had been, you know, when they got pushed out of YouTube, I thought that they had lost reach a great deal, and they had lost so much payment processing and stuff. Them popping back up like this has driven me out into this space again. And if this fucking video gets 10 views, I don't care. I've done this before. I've been the obscure guy, and started from scratch and all that stuff. But somebody has to talk about it. And then when somebody bigger than me starts talking about it, I can then again, once people start taking action and deplatforming these guys and all that stuff, then I can quietly go back to what I want to do, which is to not be caught up in this fucking this relationship with the alt-right online. I can then peacefully go back into my little hovel. I appreciate people that watch this content. I make this stuff hopefully so that you don't feel alone in your concerns about the alt-right. I've made some criticisms about LeftTube's culture and stuff online. I'm not sure about making content about that here, because this channel has always had a specific moral mission to confront Nazism in these spaces on social media. I've discussed more about BreadTube on Twitter, and that's mostly going to stay there until there is some kind of crossover between those two groups. But this channel is about fucking the alt-right at all times in every video.